Hello, my name is Sawyer and I'm Acme Theater Company's front of house manager.
Hello, my name is Zoe. I am the costumes manager. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm currently a sophomore.
Thank you so much for donating to this year's Big Day of Giving. This year, in honor of the festivities, my partner Zoe and I have both prepared a video in which we interview a multitude of alumni about their biggest catastrophe while in Acme.
I really hope you guys enjoy the videos. I personally found them absolutely hilarious, and it was a joy to make them.
Again, thank you so much for donating, and I hope you enjoyed the video.
There was like a series of, I think, spring shows in which I think the fire department kept getting called because the sprinklers kept going off.
There's sort of like an older generation, maybe an old guard. I don't know how well this tradition has been maintained, but once upon a time, people took very seriously the stage monster. This was, an ethereal creature that lived beneath the Davis Art Center stage, and just you spent its time plotting about how to throw productions into disarray and utter disaster. The stage monster might be our first culprit.
In my sophomore year, so every year we do a spring show outside at the art center stage.
According to lore, the cast had to assemble backstage before the curtain opened and had to say a little chant together and feed a coin beneath the planks of wood as an offering to the stage monster to appease it so it wouldn't ruin the production.
But because we're doing it outside, we need to have huge tech setup. So spring show is really, really intense for the stage manager, the sound, and the light designer. But we got into tech week for this show and it was going pretty well. I was really happy about it. I was still a sophomore, so I felt really baby. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Got to our last dress rehearsal on the Thursday night before the Friday, which was gonna be our first show. We did the whole dress rehearsal, everything was going great. And me and some of the tech people started taking down all of the equipment. Anyway, so I was starting to unplug things and put them back in the box. And there's something wet. And I'm like, it's not raining. It's Davis. It's not raining. What is happening? And it's the sprinklers. This has never happened before. This is the first time that the sprinklers went off. Someone screamed. It wasn't me, but someone definitely screamed. People were like, what do we do? Oh my gosh, we have thousands, literally thousands of dollars of equipment. We didn't know what to do. And the actors are like, what do we do? What do we do? And they start throwing themselves over the sprinklers. We're really trying to get all the cables wrapped up and put onto the concrete. And it was a mess. Anyway, so people are lying on the ground, soaking wet. I am freaking out, trying to lug around this huge amp. We get everything away onto the concrete and we're like, it's wet. I think I got home at 11:30. So we wrapped up our run probably around 9:30 and we spent 2 hours just trying to dry off this equipment before putting it in the shed. Go to school the next day and we're texting frantically at lunch. We're like, what are we gonna do? Do we need to go there and check it out and make sure it works because we have a show tonight? Almost all of us end up skipping our 6th or 7th period. And so we all just go over there after 5th period and set up this whole thing and it works. Just thank the theater gods. I don't know how we pull it off, but everything was dry enough that it worked. Anyway, it happened again the next year. Said, oh man, I'm so glad we remembered to turn off the sprinklers this year. And then I think it was our first dress rehearsal. They went off and we got everything out of the way again and none of the equipment was damaged again. We knew a little bit more what to do and how to deal with it, but happened twice, and I'm really glad that we didn't do a spring show my senior year, because if that had happened 3 times in a row, I would have thought Acme was cursed because of it.
Locked Andreas in the face.
The next one I'm going to share with you is I have no excuses. However you cut it, this one was clearly my fault. This was during Egelosi, which was the winter show of my sophomore year. I walked into the green room. This was at the vets. I walked into the green room. My good friend, who was a couple years older than me, and he was also one of the leads in the production, he had a really prominent role, was following me as I walked in, and I didn't realize he was right behind me. Another actor another actor walks up to me and and like drops a couple beans, like refried beans from our dinner that evening onto my exposed foot, right? I just like drop some beans on my foot. I look down, I look at him, I look down, I look at him, I say, "There's beans on my toe!" And I throw my arm out and my knuckles connect with the face of my good friend and the lead in the performance, who's standing right behind me. He immediately grabs his nose, doubles over, you can see blood running out from his hand, and he just runs off to the bathroom. And everyone looks at me like, "You just ruined the performance. Like, we will not be having a show tonight." We were in costume. I mean, we were ready to go on stage. And people still hold it against me. Like, to this day, people will say, like, "There's beans on my toe," huh? Like, ooh, it burns. It still hurts. Her, like, big thing was she needed to make these bushes.
Okay, fine, the bushes. I guess I'll start with the bushes. There was a spring show, I think it was the Jungle Book, and for the entire production process, I knew that there was gonna be these 4 bushes, and they had to kind of be big enough to conceal a person. And the whole show, Emily kept checking in with me, being like, "How are the bushes going?" And I was like, "Oh, Emily, don't worry about the bushes. I've got the bushes under control." I didn't have the bushes under control. I left the bushes until the last minute, and then I was like, shoot, okay, bush time. In which I just sort of whipped out these two-dimensional, and it wasn't my finest work, looking bush features and set them up. But Rocket had no shortage of ammo to make fun of me with for the bushes.